Hey guys, welcome back to Mountain Murders.
I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm great. I had a wonderful day. How about you?
It was pretty cool. I was at work.
Yeah, I mean, I mostly worked around the house today, but
You worked
I
a
feel
lot.
very accomplished.
Yeah.
Everything's golden.
Yes, clearing out that room where we may try to podcast in the future.
We're trying to set up a studio in the
Yeah.
house, so worked a little bit to get that space cleared out, and it's beautiful. It's fall. Very chilly this morning. When I took our daughter to school, it was like 40-something degrees outside.
It was pretty cold.
She was like, oh my God, I'm frozen. It was very cold.
I came back inside and got a jacket at 4 in the morning.
Yeah, but then by the afternoon it was gorgeous. You had that golden kind of sunlight coming in.
Oh, that's those beautiful
Leaves
fall
are
days.
turning.
Fall days in the mountains.
We had a nice walk this evening
We did, but it was brisk.
through our neighborhood. It was a little brisk, but it felt great.
Yeah, that's a good walking weather.
The only thing I don't like about this time of year is it starts getting dark so much earlier.
Well, wait till they fuck up the clock.
I know.
They should just leave that be.
Yeah, I feel like daylight
I
saving
think the time
is
of that
something
helping
that
is gone.
needs to go by the wayside.
The only good thing left out of it is it has some school kids not, in the light instead of dark maybe before they get to school.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But other than that, there's no reason for it.
But I'm loving the fall weather so far. Loving everything about it. We have some nice coffee brewed. You put a little pumpkin spice creamer in there for me.
Gotta be seasonal.
It is so seasonal. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, it was prepared by Stud Bucks.
So this weekend we're going to do
Oh,
some
no.
fun things. We're going to take the kids maybe to the corn maze.
Yeah, that
My
sounds...
son loves fall activities. He loves going to like a pumpkin patch, hay rides, corn maze, all that. Like fall is his favorite time of year. So we're going to have to hit up the corn maze, I think.
Yeah, we'll be all up in it this weekend.
Yeah. Oh, and we should tell our listeners that we may have, since it's October, it's spooky season, we're trying to load you guys up with some great podcast material so you have something to listen to all month. But we are going out of town next week. We're going to take a vacation.
Yes, we are.
So we'll be gone for a few days. There may be like a little lull.
We may miss our usual Sunday,
Release
late
day,
evening
yeah.
Sunday, submission, if you will. Yeah, I'm dumb. Yeah.
Okay.
Cut all that out.
I will not. Yeah, so we may be a little bit late getting out our, episode next week. Typically we drop on Sunday.
We
Maybe
may
a little
have
later than that.
one.
We may have one. We're not sure, but we're going to be on vacation.
Right.
We're going to visit some spooky places, a couple
Ghost
of old
tour.
cemeteries, do some ghost tours. We're going to go down to like Hilton Head, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia area. So we may post some fun things on Mountain Murders.
Yes, and if there are any listeners out there, tell us a good place to eat.
Yeah, if you live in or around Hilton Head or Savannah, Georgia, hit us up. Tell us a good spot where we might have a drink or grab a bite to eat. What you recommend.
We'd have a drink with them if they'd have us.
It's true. I'm actually thinking that we may have to find a case that happened in Savannah.
I guarantee
to kind
you.
of play up on the fact that we're on vacation there. What do you think?
That could be the one that we drop while we're in Savannah.
We may have to do that.
Hello.
Well, this is a great case that we're going to talk about now. This brand new case that we're going to do. It's been covered by some podcasters out there.
It's a big
some true
one.
Crime,
It's a big
but
one.
not as much as you'd think.
Right.
I think I've only maybe heard one podcast that when I scrolled through that they had covered the story. But growing up here in Western North Carolina, when this happened, was huge.
Well, and
it was constant news.
Yeah, it was a big deal, and I remember that vividly. But also, I think even nationally, for the type of crime that it is, this is one of the big ones. So this is a little not Mountain Murders, because we like to do the obscure and all that stuff you've never heard of. Hopefully,
this is one of the bigger cases.
But it's still one we feel like we should talk about.
You may be familiar with it. Maybe you don't know all of the details. So we're here to fill in some of those spaces for you. And you ready to get started over there?
Yeah. I am.
Dylan's over there like doing some weird Chris Farley move.
No, yeah, I'm doing like stupid.
Don't know what he gets really fidgety sometimes when we try to do this.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to duct tape him in his seat.
Yeah, it's I think it's manic energy, honey. I'm sorry.
Simadana. Okay, you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's dive into this well-known big case.
On October 25th, 1994, 23-year-old Susan Smith showed up at a stranger's house frantic. She said a black man had carjacked her 1990 Mazda Protege that she'd been driving, then drove away with her 2 young sons still inside the vehicle.
Every person's nightmare, right?
Terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, how horrible does that sound?
A carjacking, someone kidnaps your children.
They take off in the car, it all happens fast, your kids are in the damn car, and you see it, last you see is it speeding away.
And someone, carjacking you, they've got a weapon, they've got a gun.
Typically violent.
What are they going to do with these 2 kids?
Right.
Just terrifying. For 9 days, she made pleas on national TV, begging for the safe return of the 2 little boys. This was a case in the 1990s that captured the attention of everyone. Susan Smith eventually is going to become what Casey Anthony is to the 2000s.
She sure is.
Susan Smith was the Casey Anthony of the 1990s.
The most hated mother in America.
Totally, most hated woman. And honestly, even today, you say the name Susan Smith, and there are a lot of people who will shake their head and be like, that woman's a damn bitch. Like, people just do not like her.
Well, that's horrible.
And we're about to get into why. If you're not familiar with the case, I'm going to not guarantee it, but I'm going to say probably 80% of you are going to feel the same way by the end of the story.
Right.
So from the moment she reported her kids missing, a statewide search was implemented and eventually triggered a nationwide search. I mean, this story was huge.
It was what today people say is viral. I mean, it went boom.
Because this is one of those stories, and we're not saying that this is the first time a case like this has happened, but I think this was the first big case when we had the mega media.
Right. Entertainment crime.
The internet wasn't quite popular like it is today, but you had all of these news programs, you had CNN, you had the 24-hour news cycle, which was kind of a newer type of thing. You had all these crime shows, hard copy.
And that stuff was taken off.
Oh, yeah. That was when true crime really started, popping.
Yep, 2020. I mean, you had to really, I think about as it being younger, you had to either, get a book or, catch maybe a movie if you're lucky, or wait to see those couple of, series that was along the lines of your true crime that you loved.
Exactly.
You had to wait on it.
We graduated from after-school specials
to
hard copy one day.
Yes, from the Hardy Boys.
Well, the description that Susan Smith had given of this black man, which later was used to draw one of those, police composite sketches, it offered really generic details.
Wow.
So right off the bat, as she's describing this person, it was just weird. It was so generic. She didn't really have great detail. There was nothing memorable about this person.
Yep.
So really, I mean, they didn't have a lot to go by.
And that's a thing. When you give cops a description like that, I think there's a term for it now, right? The bushy-haired stranger or something like that. Shaggy-haired something.
The one-armed man? I have no idea.
Yeah, but I think it's a term for just this very, like you're describing, very generic. And even in a traumatic event, it's like a flashbulb moment, right? Like everybody knows where they were in 9/11 when they shot JFK, blah, blah, blah. You remember minute details, like the song playing on the radio and things like that. So you've been through this flashbulb traumatic moment, and you just got a basic-ass description. And this guy's all up in your face.
Volunteers were searching fields, woods in the nearby area. Volunteers were out postering the towns. People were out on horseback, riding up and down rural roads.
They were all over everywhere.
It was a huge effort. I mean, like I said, this case was probably one of the biggest things to ever hit South Carolina.
I'd say.
And people were coming from miles away to help search for these 2 little boys. It was heartbreaking. Roadblocks were set up. Police were interviewing as many people as possible. Susan appeared on television multiple times, but skeptics began questioning Smith's story. Doubts about Smith's story surfaced pretty quickly into the investigation. About 2 days into this investigation, Smith was given a lie detector test, which she failed. Cracks in her story had detectives believing she was involved in her son's disappearances and maybe possible murders. Police suspected Susan knew the whereabouts of her sons, but they had hope that they would find the little boys alive. Like maybe she had just taken them somewhere.
Or dumped them off with somebody.
Yeah.
Or some crazy, yeah.
But without coming out and saying, hey, we think she's guilty, within the department, people were talking.
Right, but it had become such a big deal. They were super careful about, even because, you know, at first everybody's like, oh, this poor mother. And like she was embraced by the entire nation, really, and especially the area. And then they're investigators. And they're looking at the cold hard facts.
Yeah, as soon as 2 days in, they were really suspecting her. That's why they asked if she would be willing to take a lie detector test.
And you fail it, which is junk science. But I think when you get a lot of, you know, okay, you failed that, you know, this and that, your details are kind of, you know, missing, and, you know, just all these little things add together, then they're going to take a look at the mother.
We'll get into more of her marriage to David Smith, the boy's father, here in a few moments. But Smith and her husband David both go in to take the lie detector test. She fails. He passes it with flying colors. And
there
again, junk science, not super reliable.
No.
But there you go.
It can be like kind of an indicator to kind of look in another direction, you know. Yeah.
Well, as you said, people were really feeling, you know, some type of way about this poor mother having this incredibly traumatic experience, coupled with her children are missing.
Yep.
She has no idea where they are. And people really this was just something that touched a lot of people.
Yes.
Multiple leads, tips poured into law enforcement. By the third day, a car matching Susan's vehicle, which was that 1990 Mazda Protege, it was kind of a burgundy color, was seen in North Carolina. However, you know, when law enforcement, I guess, pulls over this car, starts questioning, looking at paperwork, they realize it's not Susan's car and continue the search. It was at that time that some water searchers came to the area and began looking in lakes and ponds, including the John D. Long Lake. Now, the first water search didn't find anything near the lake shore. They were only searching about a 30-foot distance from the shore.
Right.
Like, oh, well, if someone submerged this car, it probably wouldn't go any further than that. So first search, nothing, not finding anything. One of the biggest clues of the case was Smith's story. So when cops start checking out what she's told them happened, it's just not coming together. The story about the location of the carjacking was quickly disproven. Now, Susan Smith claimed the carjacking happened at an intersection where a traffic light was red. So the light turns red, she has to come to a stop. She says she stopped, there were no other vehicles present, when she was approached by the assailant who had a gun, demanded, you know, he take the vehicle, he get in the car with her, make her drive off, whatever. Well, it was determined that the light would not have turned red unless there had been other cars present at that intersection.
Uh-oh, smart lights.
Yes.
Ha-ha.
Smart lights, stupid lie, right?
Yeah, and also, so you're in your car.
Right.
You're sitting in drive, just sitting at a stoplight on this empty-ass road, and here's somebody just approaching you with a gun. You know, or somebody approaching you quickly and looking scary. Don't you just take off?
You would think.
Get your head down and hope for the best and go.
Yeah, I'm going to go, because if they're going to shoot me, they're going to have to shoot me leaving.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I never understood that. But, you know, as we go on, there'll be a lot of stuff I don't understand. Probably a lot of stuff you don't understand either. Now, Smith had been separated from her on-again, off-again husband, David. She had been dating a wealthy man named Tom Finley, whose family owned the company where Susan was employed as a secretary. Susan was smitten with Finley. She was not interested in... I'm going to start that over again, because it's Finlay. Smith had been separated from her on-again, off-again husband, David. She